Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Michael from Evolve One. We're going to be talking about how to keep grit. Again, grit is where we talk into a motivated stance and say, and basically explain to ourselves, hey, are we going to keep motivated on this or are we not? And then we start to have these pessimistic questions in our brain like, are we successful? Are we going to continue with this? Why don't we go home? Why are we going to the gym? And those questions, and just kind of how to keep these questions out of your mind and keep that positivity and in that growth mindset. Guys, again, this is Michael from Evolve One. Let's just hop right into it. So, Evolve One is going to go into grit at a very callous state. Me, Michael, I have gone through probably one of the hardest stages in my life. I was working over 70 plus hours of just hard labor last summer. I was doing football for 30 hours a week, 5 days a week, and I was doing lawn care extensively, and I was doing fast paced sales, and I was, working in anywhere that I could get money, I was doing it. And it was one of those things that was, doing an extra yard or two just for that quick buck. And I was really pushing my money and I was really trying to get that grind and what I wanted to do. Because honestly, football, mowing, and doing all of that, yeah, it's great, but it gets you tired. It makes you start to question a lot about your life. I mowed all last summer and I ran my own business. That's a lot of work. I also ran and tried to make myself a huge leader, part of my linemen, and show that initiative on and off the field. How did I manage to do this all and still have myself be happy for once in my life? Well, I looked at my football and I said, hey, football is one of those things as I am never going to do ever in my life again. I wish I could. I wish I could go to college. I wish I could do that. And I know it wasn't. So you know what? I'm going to bust my ass and see what I can do. What is my potential on and off the field for my leadership role? That was a test of who I was as a person. And what kept me going through all of this and all this physical labor, not having my legs be able to work. I had muscle fatigue in my legs for over 2 months throughout the season. And those were the last 2 months. And it was a hard thing for me to try to live through. And it was the worst pain in my life. But I kept, showing through it, winning games. I got to the US Bank Stadium. That is my biggest goal in my life. And once you start making these goals and start saying, hey, this is what I am going to do, and realizing that, you know what, if you don't consider these goals to be something that you will put blood, sweat, and tears into to make a goal successful, honestly, somebody else is. So, are they going to be better than you? Do you want people to be better than you? Life is a huge competition between everybody in the world. And you can consider this to yourself. You can say, hey, I can either, one, keep my life, keep that happiness, and keep going, and not pursue my goals, or I can pursue my goals, pursue that grit, pursue that productivity, pursue that success, because I know there is success on the other side of this line, and that is any type of success for that matter, and carry out through that and show that you are growing as a person and other people will see that. Guys, growth mindset is a huge contributor to how grit is going to be there. Being in that productive mind state and in that growth mind state of wanting to get better is going to be the huge contributor to how your grit and how you can just be motivated day to day on certain things. Well, once you start getting these negative attributes and all this negativity in your life, if it is to be from others or if it will be from, hey, something else is coming up in my life. For example, what if your aunt went into the hospital and you had to go watch her and you had to go make sure she could get a ride to work every day because she can't drive a car anymore? That's a burden on your half, but you got to say to yourself, yeah, this sucks, but I am doing what the best I can and what I want to do. Yeah, it sucks at this time, but I want to make sure that I can be successful and I can be productive with it. You know what? And if I can't be productive with it, I don't want it in my life. And that's for football for me, personally. Football for me, that is something that I was a huge goal in me. I wanted to get to the US Bank Stadium. That was a huge contributor, man. Having that grit to show that initiative and keep showing and showing and showing and showing, that I am a leader. I am going to take that initiative off the field and making sure that I, at myself, was proud to call myself a Lakeville North Panther, for one, but for two, to say, hey, look at this track record I just made. And this is where the huge contribution to how you guys are going to conquer the grit and just be able to conquer anything in life and be productive. You got to look and say, do I want that track record? And if I don't want that track record, realize it at the forefront. And if you do want that track record, you go for it. Guys, the thing is that success is built off of track records in the first place. And your track record of who you are as a person. My football career and my mowing career is something that I show as one of the biggest track records of my life. Not an egotistic approach where I can be cocky about and say, hey, I'm an amazing person because I did this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. I'm above other people. That's narcissism. This is completely different. This is saying, hey, this is to yourself. This is saying, hey, I am building this track record for myself just to say that I am being successful. And if you are knowing that you're being successful on a day-to-day basis and saying, blocking out those negative attributes, because 80% of what you think on a day-to-day basis is, in a matter of fact, negative thoughts. Negative thoughts about yourself, negative thoughts about others, negative thoughts about things that are going on in your life, like your work, oh, my work sucks, or oh, my friends are being crappy, or oh, why didn't my friends not invite me? Well, stop thinking pessimistic about it and start getting on your purpose. You guys need to say that, hey, I have the grit and I have the power to go through this. And if I didn't, why would I hold myself to the standard of these extremely successful people in life? Why would I not want to be this successful person? Because honestly, if you look at any successful person in life, anybody under the age of 60 per se, you look at them and you say, what made them choose that lifestyle over anything? And it usually comes down to where these people were living on chunk change, or they were in one of those situations in life where if they didn't grind out, they aren't not going anywhere. And you need to realize that too, is I personally saying I was able to carry through that stuff last summer because I needed finances. I needed to get my checkup. My mom wasn't helping me out with any of my bills, so I had to pay for everything myself. That was a responsibility that I took on, and that's why I showed grit. Because honestly, if I didn't stop working and I stopped getting the money and working on the weekends and dealing with school and all of that, I would have never, ever been able to pay for my gas, and I would have never been able to go to football in the first place. Those questions, you need to really ask yourself, and you need to say, hey, am I comfortable putting myself in this situation? For me, I said, I am going to put myself into this basic war zone of a situation where I am beating my body up to the max of what it can do, being a lineman and mowing lawns on a consecutive basis, walking over probably 10 miles a day at sometimes. It's one of those things you need to say this, I'm not going to do it, who's going to help me? And if no one's going to help me, what's going to happen? If I don't go to work, if I don't get that second job, I'm going to stay where I'm at. If I'm going to stay where I'm at, who's going to help me be more successful? Nobody's going to help you be more successful. At the end of the day, you need to build your success on yourself. Guys, this grit and this, motivation to stay onto stuff comes from a deep, basic, just understanding of yourself and saying, hey, I want to build this track record. For one, I need to do this. This is something, if I don't do it, I want to do it more than anything else in the world. And having that, that values chart of saying, hey, I'm putting these goals above anything else in life and being comfortable with all the sacrifices that come with it. Also, being grit and showing that you're going to be so dedicated to something that is not going to fail. You need to say, hey, if I build this track record, how amazing am I going to feel about myself? And conquer that and be completely open to the opportunity of having that success just be in your hands. Look at these NFL stars. Their success is built for the NFL, going to the Super Bowl. That is what they show. And it's crazy how football does this to human beings so well, but they will literally put blood, sweat, tears, everything they have, their whole life on the line just to make that goal. And they realize that if they don't make that goal, they are not successful to them. And that doesn't help them. That doesn't build their track record up. Because you know what? They are in that growth mindset and they're saying to themselves, hey, if I'm not getting a Super Bowl and I'm not going out and, being the touchdown like Tom Brady and having 6 Super Bowl rings, or I believe it's 7 or something now. I don't pay attention to quarterbacks, obviously, but having that initiative and saying, hey, if I'm not going to be as successful as that person, what makes me less unsuccessful? And if you are comfortable with that, accepting that. But if you're not comfortable and you want to be the best at yourself and you want to be the best at what you do on a day-to-day basis, you need to be conquering these questions that your pessimistic mind gives you on a day-to-day basis. Like, oh, is it really worth going to the gym tonight? Oh, do I really need to crank out 100 push-ups today during the quarantine? Oh, do I really need to go get my abs, do abs every single workout? Yes, you do. That's why you put those goals in the first place. If you weren't passionate about these goals in the first place, you would have not chosen them as your blood, sweat, and tears. That's why I say goal making should be something that you hold to the same accountability as a relationship. For the grit, though, just to cover it all up, you need 2 things. You need one, you just need to say, hey, am I going to be successful off this track record? And can I be the most successful I can be at this situation? If that be football for me, which I thought I was, I grinded my ass off for over a year. I, trained in the off season and went through all of the training, and I got myself a lineman position and I got myself to the bank. Those goals I put blood, sweat, and tears into, because you know what? I knew that if I built that track record and I showed others and I showed myself at the end of the day that I am in that type of mindset and I can show myself that I am capable of doing that, just think how good you would feel. Like, imagine how good you would feel if you saw something and you saw, this is what my track record to be at the most successful rate I am comfortable pursuing in, and saying, hey, it's accomplishable, and saying, hey, I'm waiting for that cake at the end of this road, if that be the Super Bowl for some people, if that be getting a new friendship for some people, if that be getting a new job, if that be investing more, if that be buying a new house. Being comfortable with these new goals and saying, if I'm going to buy a new house this year, I'm going to have to put the blood, sweat, and tears into getting a second job. I'm going to have to be putting, more blood and sweat and tears into making sure I'm investing all my extra money. Those goals and those perseverance, you better show that you are completely dedicated to them. And that is what the grit is. Grit is something that is so powerful, guys. And if you start to realize that the track record that you built is going to be the successful thing that you can say that you are proud of at yourself, and you can say, wow, I really did that to myself. Wow, I really got to the US Bank Stadium. That is something that I will hold myself at the highest level of respect for, because that's how respect is earned, is when you make these goals and you conquer them in a successful fashion. Guys, again, this is Michael from Evolve One. I hope you guys all have a great day. Again, grit is one of those things, is if you have any questions about it and just how to carry out these super stressful things, if it's body exhaustion or if it's just something that you need to learn, that being in a grit mindset, getting that grit and being in that growth mindset, you got to want it more than anything. You got to want it more than a relationship. You got to want it more than friendships. You got to want it more than happiness at right now. Again, happiness is an investment if you really want it. Guys, again, Michael from Evolve One. Hope you guys all have a great day. Goodbye now.